Hi, welcome back to Sidebar with Kennedy McMahon. I'm Kennedy and this is Leonard. Hi, bud. Yeah, he's a little worked up right now. He's a little interested in my attention, which does not line up with my schedule for today, unfortunately, buddy. You've received lots of love and attention, haven't you, already today, hon? Now it's mommy's time to talk to her friends, okay? Yes, I do refer to myself as mommy when I'm talking about my pets. And I have a little rosé. You guys, it snowed today. It has not snowed since October. And it was a freak snow then. We have desperately needed some rainfall or some snowfall. And we've been particularly craving the snow. I love the snow. I wanted to thank you for all of your wonderful enthusiasm and support with me coming back to Sidebar with my previous episode. I really appreciate your comments. I love having this forum here on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, because the comments are so great. I love being able to interact with your comments because on Spotify, which is also great if you're listening to that here, Spotify, you can leave responses. I think maybe now you're allowed to respond, but before you guys could leave comments, but I couldn't respond to you, which I always found kind of a bummer because I wanted to respond to you. It's way more interesting to me when this actually feels like a dialogue and not just me all the time. Even though that's kind of what we both signed up for here. Also, somebody said in a comment on my previous podcast video that my microphone is ginormous, which it is. Yes, it is ginormous. It's really silly to hold. I have some other mics that I've considered using, but none of them really work as well in this space or as something I can hold, which I really like because then I can kind of move around the space without worrying so much, or like having a stand kind of in the way. It is ginormous, and I hope that it makes you laugh. But I have some rosé because tonight is the premiere of The Bachelor. Now, does the Bachelor franchise deserve my viewership? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They have, if you're at all a part of Bachelor Nation, you would know that they have just tragically fumbled the ball recently. And, yeah, I don't know that I'm proud that I'm invested, but I just am. It's a show I've been watching since I was in middle school. I would obsessively go home in middle school and watch The Bachelorette after I was done with my homework by myself on my Dell laptop. So I'm not quitting on it now, okay? I also think, no way, you guys, I saw that coming. Okay, well, please hold. This was so unbelievably predictable. It's like I did that on purpose. I like, if you guys all thought that I just did that to be as part of my brand or something because I spill all the time in these videos, oh my God, and in real life. No, I thought it didn't break at all. It only broke a very small amount on the bottom. Well, if you're not watching, I just set my glass of wine down on an uneven surface. An uneven surface. Yeah. At least it was not red wine. And therefore, I am not concerned about a stain in my carpets. Wow. Well, what a time to be alive. My pants are so wet. Look at that. I have to change my pants. Wow. I'm just going to use this as an excuse to wear the matching set. Then my cat is losing it, mama. Wow. Well, destined for chaos today. Good thing she is speeding around the house like Usain Bolt. Oh, yeah, talking about you, mama. She's got it going on. Okay, wow. Okay, time to rein it in. I've been banned from the wine. I need to wait. Oh no. Oh, there it is. I almost forgot about this piece of glass. Are there little shards? Okay, not done yet. Hold on. Wow. How upsetting. That whole thing. Where to go from here? I guess we get on to the topic, which is simply a Q&A. Thank God, because I would have completely lost my train of thought if I were trying to articulate anything to you after this sequence of events. So here we go. I asked on Twitter at the end of last year if you guys would have any questions for moi, and many of you did. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted questions back then. This was like a long time ago now, but I really appreciate it. You had some fabulous questions, and I hope that I can give you some answers. And if I don't answer your question, I am sorry. What is the most rewarding thing about the career you have? That's a great question. I think I'm generally in a place where I have been focusing a lot on the challenges that my career has presented me and not so much on how rewarding it can be. And I would say the most rewarding thing for me thus far has been hearing people who connected with the material tell me that it helped them make it through a hard time, or they felt seen in the work that I was doing or that the show or film was doing. I think it's really rewarding when you are, as an actor, kind of simulating an experience that you haven't had. And for someone who has had that experience, it's very cool, I think, and it feels really rewarding when someone kind of validates that you, I don't know if accurately is the right word, but just that the way that you portrayed that experience for the project spoke to their lived experience, whatever that means. So that's really rewarding. And then, yeah, just when you hear somebody say, my favorite, most meaningful things people have said about Nancy Drew, for example, has been people saying that they watched Nancy Drew at a time when they really needed a distraction or comfort, and that the show provided it for them. That's super cool, and I think the most rewarding thing. Both of these questions are from Marie, and her other question is, what is one of your biggest goals you want to achieve in the acting industry? And that's kind of an interesting answer now, because I've kind of done it. And that's not to say that I don't have any other goals. I just think I'm kind of in a place right now where I am trying to cultivate as much peace in my life about it as possible. Because if you haven't heard me speak about this before, the TV and film industry is in a really tumultuous place for everybody. This is not, me playing victim whatsoever. But it's just in a really tumultuous place, and there's a lot that I can't control. And I think I've had to make a certain amount of peace, which sounds like I'm hanging up the towel with certain dreams I used to have, maybe, but it really doesn't feel like that. It genuinely feels like Here's the thing. When I was in college, I went to college for acting. And when I was there, I remember thinking to myself that the thing I wanted most as an actor was to be a part of a long-ish running television show that meant something to someone. And I got to do that with Nancy Drew. And that was really awesome. And I've always really wanted to incorporate mental health into my work. I got to do that with The Good Lawyer pilot. And then I've really wanted to do a rom-com, which I just filmed this summer. And those were like the things I really wanted to do, to be totally honest with you. And I've had certain points in time where I'm like, oh, I really want to work with this filmmaker, or I really want to work with this actor or whatever. And I don't know that I really have that anymore. I mean, there's like a huge list of people in this industry that I would love working with. Don't get me wrong, that I would be like clutching my pearls getting to work with. So it's not like that. It's just that I'm not treating my pursuit of acting in that manner anymore. Because I have accomplished my base dreams, I'm kind of saying, hey, I'm going to show up, and in my pursuit, I'm definitely not taking a back seat, but I'm just kind of comfortable letting the cards fall where they may, and that gives me a lot of ease and a lot of acceptance, and I don't feel like I'm sacrificing any sort of dream that I had, that I'm thinking, oh, well, the industry is too hard for me to ever get there. It's like, not really like that. It's just, I don't know, I think I'm really grateful that I got to do the thing I wanted to do. So I can't be mad. I mean, this industry, I think maybe part of it too is that I've seen so many people that I know and love get really hurt by this industry and give it a lot and get very little in return. And it's a really difficult pursuit. I don't think that really needs saying. I just feel enormously grateful that I've gotten the experiences that I have gotten thus far. And to be clamoring for more, not that there's anything wrong at all with dreaming big, and like, please do. And if I kind of turn that corner and that sounds like a healthy drive for me to establish some concrete goals, then great. But I just feel really grateful for what I've gotten to do. And if that's it, then amazing. But it's probably not. And whatever it is, if it means something to someone and it means something to me, that's really all I'm looking for. Next question, favorite films and TV shows? Well, my favorite television show is probably Gilmore Girls. I know that's not that original, but it has always been my comfort show. And I used to watch it when I would get home from school with my mom and my dad sometimes. And I just kind of attached it to that time. I watched it a lot throughout college. And that was the show that kind of made me feel like I want to be a part of the way that I feel about these characters and this show and this world. I want to be a part of the creation of that for somebody else. That was sort of like the origin of my dream as an actor, to like be a part of a television show that meant something to someone. Is just sort of based off of what Gilmore Girls and those characters meant to me. I also love Downton Abbey. I love Downton Abbey. Love it so much. And then I'm a huge reality TV show girl. I don't watch a ton of shows, like modern shows. I love Severance. I'm like really excited to watch season 2. I haven't started yet. I like, of recent shows, I love Ted Lasso. I love The Bear. But mostly I spend my time watching Love Island, which I have been watching Love Island UK, since like series 3 was premiering, I was finding ways to watch it. And I've been obsessed ever since. I watch UK, Australia, and US. I'm dead serious. I've watched it all. So I've watched every single episode. Not of the non-English speaking casts, because I need to be able to have it on in the background. Or else how am I ever keeping up? You know what I mean? I love old school Survivor. I've struggled a little with the more modern seasons, just changing up gameplay, but then I think it found its way, and now I think it's in a good place again. Though I haven't watched the most recent season, actually. I need to go back and watch it. I love Below Deck. All Below Decks are my faves. As for movies, my favorite, like, sentimental movie is A League of Their Own, which just makes me cry and makes me happy and reminds me of my mom. And we just have watched that together, and it's been very meaningful. Also, Mamma Mia, which I have also watched with my mom, I think 4 times in one weekend when I was in, I believe, high school. So that tells you a little something about me. I also love the movie in terms of like more, wow, I really appreciate this piece of art. I love the movie Delicatessen. I love Battle Royale. Oh, I went to see Wicked. Not my favorite movie, but I did love it. I cried and cried. I was such a Wicked girl when I was, in middle school or whenever it was coming out. I was so into it. I haven't listened to the soundtrack in years, and I knew almost every single word as I sat there. Yes, I went alone, which I insisted upon, because I just knew it was going to be an emotional experience for me. Any other favorite movies that haven't? I love Shawshank Redemption. It's a great movie. I wrote a list once. Let's see. Favorite, like, what kind of freak am I where I'm like, oh, what's my favorite movie? Let me just check. Okay, yeah, okay. A couple of these I won't mention because they're not worth it, but The Princess Bride is one of my faves. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, another fave. Those have similar vibes to me, sort of. And Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley version. We all know, what's the point? Okay, this person asks, once again asking for bromance updates if you have any. I just can't help it. I'm too excited about you in a rom-com. Ugh, I love you. Okay, so yes, as I alluded to in a previous answer, yes, I filmed a rom-com this summer called Bromance, which I think is the title that will stick. There was a moment in time where I wasn't sure if that was going to be the title. We were talking about maybe. So if it has a different name later for whatever reason, that's why. But let's call it Bromance, which I do think is what it will be called, and a name that I actually really love. So yeah, I don't really know anything besides the fact that it's going to be great. I've seen a little bit of it, and I think it's awesome. And I think you're really going to like it a lot. That's my hope anyway. I don't have any updates in terms of when it will come out. It will probably be this year. That's all I know. It's closing in on the final edit as far as I know, but who knows how long it takes from that point onward. It's an independent movie, so we don't know where it's going to be distributed, like if it will be in certain theaters, what streaming platform it would be on. If it were to get on one, we don't know. So when we do know, I will let you know. Thank you for caring. I really appreciate it. Just because I got a lot of questions about what upcoming projects you're a part of, which again is like super cool and nice that you care about that and that you are showing that support. It really means a lot to me. So thank you so much. I did a couple episodes of the show. I don't know that I can announce what it is yet. My involvement in the show hasn't been announced at all. I don't think it ever will be because it's not that kind of role. So yeah, when I have information about that, when that show is coming out, I will definitely promote it and let you know. But it was a really amazing experience. Okay. Hi, Kennedy. Are there any other games you've thought about playing while live streaming? Why, yes. In fact, there have been. If you haven't seen my live streams on my YouTube channel of the new Nancy Drew computer game, Mystery of the Seven Keys, do check that out. I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun. I think I was A, I got super busy, but B, I was a little intimidated by some technical problems that I was having, and that was part of the reason why I got a new camera. If you're watching my vlogs on my YouTube channel, you would have heard me talk about in my first vlog back that I got this new camera, and my previous one was just overheating, and that was it was always shutting off during lives, and I was having some internet issues, which was partly where I was living at the time, which we're no longer living there. So anyway, I would love to do more live streams. I will do, and I have promised to do, at least one more episode of that game. It'll be really funny too, because it will, I think, require us all to search deep back into our memories and pull forth what was going on before. I definitely think it would be fun to do some more Nancy Drew games. I have considered also, I play every cozy game, quote unquote, under the sun. I played Stardew Valley since it first came out. I've been in this game. Okay, so I love that genre, cozy farming, lifestyle, sim, small town, cute pixel graphics. That is my vibe. So I've definitely considered playing those. I've considered streaming some of my favorite Nancy Drew games after I finish up Mystery of the Seven Keys. Guess I'm just not sure how many of you would want to watch content about gaming other than Nancy Drew games. Let me know if you do. I mean, I obviously so appreciate you and your enthusiasm. Whoever asked this question, who I think was Mercedes. I guess let me know. And let me know if the live stream element is a part that you really like, or you would rather see an edited, Let's Play style video. Let me know if you have any thoughts. If you're going to watch gaming content from me, let me know what kind of vibes you're looking for there. Live streams so we can interact, because I find that really fun, but also I don't really watch any live streams. I only really watch pre-recorded content, so I get if that's more your speed, just, let me know. I've been waiting to address this next question for a while, because I think it's important that you know this about me. And, one of the questions I was asked was my top song of the year. And, I have to admit to you that I was in the top 0.05% of listeners globally of Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter. The top 0.05% globally. What's wrong with me? What happened? Because I don't feel like I listened to it that much. That's a lot. That's so much. There are teenagers whose entire lives are listening to a single artist. What business do I have being in the top 0.5% of listeners globally of that song. Look, I like the song. Okay? I obviously like the song a lot. I think it's catchy and it speaks to me, and I like to try and sing it in the car. And it was pretty much the only thing I listened to when I was filming Brewmance. I pretty much listened to that song on repeat in my rental car to and from set. I don't know how that could have made up that amount of time. But yeah, so that was my top song of the year. Actually insane. Actually crazy. Any recent books you have loved? I've been kind of striking out lately. I've not been loving what I've been reading. And I also haven't been reading very much, which I don't like, and I would like to read more. That would be great. I think I even talked about this on a podcast before, my favorites for that year, I think. And it's just, I think the last great book I read was Four Treasures of the Sky. So if you haven't read it, it's a great book. But otherwise, no, not really. I finished the Throne of Glass series, which I loved reading that. I had read Court of Thorn and Roses right before that. So I was all in the Sarah J. Maas thing. And that was, treating me really well. I loved that. I think it's time for me to read, and this is no shade to fantasy or to romance or anything like that, but I do feel like I need to read a proper kind of, just a book that challenges me a little bit. That's a bit more like taking your vitamins, than like, I think books should be for just fun and escape and entertainment. And I also think that there's room for books that are more challenging and educational. Not nonfiction necessarily, like fiction that is just more challenging, more of the classics type of thing. I feel like I'm kind of due for one. Okay, this person asks, what was it like at Carnegie Mellon / Pittsburgh? I'm thinking about doing my bio PhD there and want to know the vibes. Well, I realize this is a niche question that maybe not everyone is going to be interested in the answer to, so I'm going to keep it brief, but I wanted to answer this because I loved my time at Carnegie Mellon and I loved my time in Pittsburgh. It's a place that I really treasure. It's a city that I really love. And I had a fantastic college experience. It was great. It would probably be a lot different than yours, given this is your PhD in biology. I was getting my bachelor's degree in acting, and the drama school is very secluded from the rest of the university, though I took other classes in the university outside of the drama school. But that was the vast majority of my experience in college was in the drama program. So it's hard to speak to the university as a whole, except that I love the campus, I love the location. I generally thought people were really good vibes for the most part. It's a lot of very studious students. Mostly I can speak to you about Pittsburgh, which is just that it's a really cool, super interesting city with a bunch of different little boroughs that are all so unique and full of history and really cool. The downtown, at least when I was there, was not particularly hoppin'. It was more of these like different neighborhoods closer to campus that college students at least spend the most of their time, at least Carnegie Mellon students. And there's a couple other colleges nearby. I think that you'll probably really enjoy it. Sam and I recently went back to visit. We did like an overnight stay in Pittsburgh. And it was so crazy going back. It had been, I think, 5 years maybe since I graduated when we went back. And yeah, it was so crazy. We like went to the place we had our first kiss, and it was just like, oh, wow, it's so wild. Just full of memories. Some good, some not so good. Just intense, really intense. Advice for dealing with a sense of hopelessness in your 20s. I mean, gosh, I get it. I don't know if this will be so much advice as just validation that, at least in my experience, is so normal. And in the experience of a lot of other 20-somethings that I know, it's crazy. It's a very weird time of life. And it is so different than I ever anticipated it being. I think a lot of us were expecting, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who live a life that looks more like this, but you think it's just like fun and friends and partying and, starting a bunch of new things, just all these fresh starts, and that it's kind of carefree. And yeah, I've not felt like that at all. I have felt totally smacked in the face of just like, what am I doing? And this is coming from someone who like has some objective things to point to of like, look at this thing I did that I accomplished and whatever. And it still feels at times, I just feel so lost in the sauce. And I don't know if this is exactly what you mean by hopelessness. And I think that there's a greater picture there in terms of just the world we're living in and the kind of rhetoric that people speak about a lot and that I definitely have related to and felt myself, which is just like this feeling that the world is so out of control and so much is happening that feels really scary, and there's so much fear-mongering everywhere all the time, and it's just a lot. So I don't know if that's more what you're speaking to, but I think they all kind of intertwine in a way where I think it can just feel so hard to know who you are. I feel like I just started to figure that out, and I am 28 and I'm married and I, have had a career, and it's still like, whoa, it takes a lot to figure out who I am and, just what am I doing here and what do I believe in? As you kind of mature and understand the world better, all of these issues that once seemed so simple feel so much more complicated. At least I've felt that way. That the world has just gotten infinitely more complicated the more I understand it. It's just like, oh, whoa. And it can just feel so overwhelming. And then all of your personal responsibilities are kind of ever evolving and you're kind of being asked to level up all the time, or to sit and wait through something that's unpleasant or difficult. It's just a really strange time in life. And I guess I wanted to answer this question because I just really relate. And I think a lot of people relate. And I wish I had advice for you. I guess my biggest piece of advice would be to find some hobbies. Find a craft that, like, literally something to do with your hands or something to dedicate yourself to that is totally within your control and takes you out of your head and into your body and allows you to kind of cultivate some peace. That would be my recommendation to you, because there's so much we can't control that I think contributes the most maybe to the feelings of hopelessness that I've experienced, is just feeling so out of control. Kind of cultivating a system of control in your own life in a healthy way before it manifests in an unhealthy way. Make pottery or, talk about it if you can. Try and commune with people in real life and kind of put technology down and carve out time for that. That would be my recommendation. And just know that it will get better. I am in such a better place than I was a few years ago, than I was a year ago. It's continually, even when I thought honestly that it would be over, quote unquote, faster. That this like nebulous feeling I was living in for so long about my identity. And I think this also plays into the fact that I'm like a real people pleaser, or have been in the past. And just, you can really lose your identity to that because you're just trying to do what people want you to do. And it can be really hard to pull out what's actually you. And there was a lot of ways in which I felt just totally hopeless in my ability to grasp onto anything in my life, my identity, what I was supposed to be doing, what my role in the world was. And I do think that I kept expecting I think I knew I had gotten great advice from my dad, and I think I knew that I was going to grow through it. I just kept waiting for it to happen, and it didn't happen for a couple of years. And that's like intense to say, maybe, if you're feeling, in the middle of it. But I think I wasted a little bit of energy panicking about it not happening fast enough and feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel totally clueless and hopeless and drowning forever. And that's definitely not the case. And leaning on other people and actually being honest about how you're feeling has helped me a lot, because I think I feared coming off as dumb or not knowing what direction to take. I saw that sort of as a weakness and not something I had experienced before earlier in my life. I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew where I was going, how, I felt confident in how things would turn out. And then I just wasn't experiencing that at all anymore. I was terrified and totally uncertain. And speaking truth to that took a long time for me, because it was hard for me to admit, I think, to myself. So speaking truth to it has helped me a lot. And bouncing things off of other people has helped a lot. And confronting the fact that my people-pleasing tendencies were the root of my inability to gain control of my life. Wow, this answer has taken on a life of its own. This is, could be, maybe, I hope this is relating to someone about something. Whether or not it speaks to this experience of hopelessness in your 20s, I don't know. But to me, they're all wrapped up, and I can only speak from my own experience and hope that there's something in there that resonates. But just know that you are very much not alone in that, and that you will find your way out. I feel like I am seeing the sunshine, and there was a lot of years where I did not feel like that. And it will come. Don't fret. You'll be okay. Okay, one last funny one for the road. Something light. I will end on this one because I think it's kind of juicy. This person asked, do you ever look up edits of yourself? And the answer to that is yes, I do. And then sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's so funny, and please don't ever take this personally, because I'll say, just to be clear, I'll say this. I could not love it more than when you guys create, or like back in the day when the show was airing, back in the day, when you guys would create like amazing fan content about Nancy Drew and stuff like that, like edits and stuff. It just was like amazing. And in so many ways, it just like, they're kind of a summary of memories for me in a way. And it's so cool. So that's really satisfying and fun. And I've never really felt weird about that. I have looked up edits of like just me. I'm always curious kind of what's out there. And you would do it too. Like if you had that happening to you, it's so surreal and weird. And it like just feels so like, it feels so, I don't know. It's like I'm not watching myself. I'm just like, I know that's me. And I can't process that. I just can't process it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, cringe. Why did I put that on the internet? Sometimes people will pull from really old like Instagram stories or something, which is like, this is all positive, but there are weird experiences sometimes that you have when you consume that kind of content. And it's just like so strange. Not strange in any sort of way that it is bad. I think it's awesome and I love it. And it's like so, amazing and cool. And all you can be is grateful for it. But yeah, of course, how could you not? It's a whole complicated bunch of feelings. There's so many complicated, weird feelings on, I don't know, having a group of people that admire your work and want to maintain support of you. It's just like so amazing. And I feel, I don't know, sometimes undeserving, I guess, or I don't know. There's like, it's just surreal. It's just surreal. So yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. I'll out myself to end this episode. Okay, my friends, that is it. I have a request for you though. I am hoping to do a special little Valentine's episode where I give advice on your love problems. What do you think? I think it would be kind of fun if you guys would either write in or, even better, send a voice message, make a little audio recording on your phone, and email it to the email address for this podcast, which is sidebar, Sidebar, with Kennedy, Kennedy, McMahon, McMann, at gmail.com. That'll be in the description of this episode. If you could send me your love woes, either, write your situation out or send me a voice note so that I can add that into the episode and it can be like a caller in sort of situation. I would love to give you advice. Not saying it'll be good advice, but I don't know. Probably it would be okay. Hopefully it will at least be entertaining. So if you want to be featured, you can be anonymous if you want. I can include your name if you want. So don't worry if you want to write in or send in an audio message. We can keep you entirely anonymous. So if you are interested, please, I would love it if you would send me anything to do with your love woes, any love-based advice you need. Send me in an email, either text or audio recording at sidebarwithkennedymcmann at gmail.com. Cool. Okay, I think that's it. I hope that you had fun. Sorry if I didn't answer your question. And if you have any other questions that you would like me to answer in a future Q&A, please leave them down below in the comments. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, turn on the little notification bell so you know when I post new videos. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give this podcast a 5-star rating. Unless you don't think it deserves it, then don't rate it at all. No, it should be just, so whatever you think. But yeah, thank you so much. Leave me some comments or some responses on Spotify. I love seeing and publishing those, or on YouTube where we can better communicate. Thank you so much for being here. It is so fun to be back, and I love you. Bye.